A long time ago, in a small village, there lived a man and his wife. They had been married for many years, but they had no children. This made them very sad because they wished for a baby more than anything in the world. Their house stood next to a beautiful garden. The garden was filled with fresh vegetables, colorful flowers, and sweet-smelling herbs. However, it did not belong to them. The garden belonged to a powerful witch who was feared by everyone in the land. Nobody dared to enter her garden because she was known for her cruel magic. One day, the wife stood by the window and looked into the witch's garden. She saw a bed of green plants with long leaves. They looked so fresh and tasty. These were called Rapunzel, a kind of salad plant. When the woman saw them, she suddenly felt a strong desire to eat them. Day after day, the desire grew stronger, until she felt she could not live without tasting the Rapunzel leaves. She became pale and weak, and her husband grew worried. "My dear wife," said the man, "what is wrong? You look so ill." "Oh," she whispered, "I will die unless I can eat some of the Rapunzel from the witch's garden." The husband loved his wife very much. He thought, "I cannot let her die. I must bring her some of those plants, even if I have to risk my life." So, late at night, he climbed over the wall into the witch's garden. Quickly, he picked a handful of Rapunzel leaves and carried them back to his wife. She made a salad and ate them with great joy. The taste was more delicious than anything she had ever eaten. But the next day, her desire grew even stronger. She begged her husband again, "Please bring me more. I must eat them again." The man felt afraid, but he could not refuse her. So he went once more into the garden. This time, as he climbed down the wall, the witch appeared before him. Her eyes were dark and full of anger. "How dare you," she cried, "steal from my garden like a thief? You shall pay for this." The man fell to his knees and begged, "Please forgive me. My wife saw your Rapunzel from the window. She longed for them so much that she became sick. I was afraid she would die, so I brought her some leaves. Please have mercy." The witch looked at him for a moment, and then she spoke coldly. "Very well. I will allow you to take as much Rapunzel as you want, but in return, you must give me the child that your wife will soon bring into the world. I will take the baby away and raise it as my own." The poor man was terrified, but he agreed because he feared the witch's power. When the baby was born, the witch came and carried the little girl away. She named her Rapunzel, after the plant that had caused this fate. Rapunzel grew into the most beautiful child in the world. Her hair was long, shining, and golden like the sun. The witch loved her in her own strange way, but she did not treat her kindly. When Rapunzel was 12 years old, the witch locked her in a tall tower, deep in the forest. The tower had no stairs and no doors, only a single window at the very top. Whenever the witch wanted to visit, she would stand below the tower and call out, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair to me." Then Rapunzel would let her long golden hair fall from the window, and the witch would climb up like a rope. For many years, Rapunzel lived in the tower, seeing no one but the witch. She spent her days singing sweet songs, and her voice was so clear that it carried far into the forest. One day, a prince rode through the forest and heard her singing. The sound touched his heart, and he wanted to know who was singing so beautifully. He followed the sound and came to the tower, but he could find no door or stairs. He waited and hid behind the trees. Soon, the witch came and called, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair to me." To the prince's surprise, a long rope of golden hair fell down the side of the tower. The witch climbed up, and then she disappeared inside. The prince thought, "If that is the ladder, I will try it too." He waited until the witch was gone. Then he stepped forward and called in the same way, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair to me." At once, the hair came down, and he climbed up. When Rapunzel saw a man enter her room, she was frightened, for she had never seen anyone but the witch. But the prince spoke gently to her, telling her that her singing had filled his heart with love. Slowly, Rapunzel's fear disappeared, and she began to like him. Soon, they fell deeply in love. For many weeks, the prince visited Rapunzel in secret. He brought her gifts and told her stories of the outside world. At last, he said, "Dearest Rapunzel, will you marry me?" "Yes," she whispered, "but how can I leave this tower?" The prince answered, "Every time I come, I will bring a piece of silk. You can weave them into a ladder. When it is finished, I will come and take you away to my kingdom." Rapunzel was full of hope, but one day she made a mistake. She said to the witch, "Mother Gothel, why is it that you are so much heavier to pull up than the young prince? He climbs so quickly." The witch's eyes blazed with fury. "You wicked child," she screamed. "I thought I had hidden you from the world, and yet you have betrayed me." In her anger, the witch cut off Rapunzel's long golden hair and carried the poor girl away to a lonely desert. There Rapunzel lived in sadness and hunger, far away from everyone she loved. That night, the witch tied Rapunzel's cut hair to the window of the tower. When the prince came and called, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair to me," the hair fell, and he climbed up, but instead of his beloved, he found the cruel witch. "Ha," she laughed, "you will never see Rapunzel again. She is gone forever." The witch pushed the prince, and he fell from the tower. He landed in the thorns below, and the sharp branches blinded him. Weeping, the prince wandered through the forest, eating only wild roots and berries. For many years, he searched for Rapunzel, calling her name, but he could not find her. Meanwhile, Rapunzel lived alone in the desert. She gave birth to twins, a boy and a girl. She raised them as best she could, though life was hard. Yet she never lost hope of seeing her prince again. One day, as the prince wandered blind and lonely, he heard a familiar voice singing in the distance. It was Rapunzel's voice. He followed the sound until he reached her. When Rapunzel saw him, she ran to his arms and wept. Her tears fell on his eyes, and suddenly his sight returned. He could see her again, more beautiful than ever. Full of joy, the prince led Rapunzel and their children back to his kingdom. There they were welcomed with happiness, and they lived together for the rest of their days in love and peace.